Welcome back. Right now we have Blake Christian right here in studio to talk about MIT Opportunity Fund. This is an incredible project that started years ago. We've been following the progress, but it's been a while since we've had Blake here in studio to discuss updates. It's changed quite a bit, and there's exciting things happening with this project. Blake, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
It's great seeing you again.
And you.
So I'm excited to talk about this project, but for our viewers who may not be aware about what it is and how it started, I'd love to hear the background.
Right, so we started this about 5 years ago, and after I came to town, I approached the ski industry, both Deer Valley as well as Vail, to help solve their temporary housing problem with the lifties and things. We have 3,000 plus people come in the winter to work the lifts, work the restaurants, and there's no place for them to stay other than people's basements, which a Park City basement is not a bad deal, but still, you know, getting to work and things is still a problem with the bus service. So we built a prototype to show them that we can convert shipping containers into housing, and they're extremely durable. We can heavily insulate them, and we could build a workforce housing development out of town and then have bus service into town. And it was very well received. We had about 500 people come through the unit as we had it on display. But you know, the ski industry was like, you know, build us the units and we'll do a master lease. But you know, I have a daytime job as a CPA, so we didn't want to have a 5-year project of a development project. And but there's still huge pin-up demand for affordable housing, and so we said, you know, let's just go out and build them. And so we bought a 19,000 square foot facility in the Provo rail yard. It's in an opportunity zone, 2.5 acres, and so we've been finishing off the building. It's a 100-year-old building, but it's heavy industrial, so it's perfect for what we need. And we're starting production next month. We've got back orders of about 50 units right now. In
your knowledge, have people created living areas out of shipping containers in the past before you've done it?
Oh yeah, it's very commonplace in Europe, Australia, New Zealand. They've been doing this for decades. And but when we started this 5 years ago, there were only 8 counties that we could identify in the whole U.S. that would allow you to live in a shipping container. And to tell you the truth, when I first approached the ski industry, it was like, you know, that's cruel and unusual punishment to put them in a shipping container. But once we showed them the build out, and they're very, you know, in my view, you know, pretty opulent living spaces, they said, oh, this I'd live in here. The best compliment we had is we had a developer in town, real estate developer, and he was in our unit for a half an hour. At the end of the conversation, he said, you know, you've done a nice job on this. He goes, some people are doing this with shipping containers. Have you ever thought of building one in a shipping container? And we said, you're standing in a shipping container, but because we clad it on the outside, you don't see all the metal and things. He didn't even know he was in a shipping container. So.
Oh, that's a huge compliment. What sparked this idea for you? Did you see it in other countries? I know, you know, there's a problem here of affordable housing and seasonal housing, and you're definitely someone who sees a problem and wants to find ways to solve it. But in the very beginning, what made you decide? What gave you the idea?
Well, you know, it was just because before I moved here, my office was in Long Beach, California, and my office looked over the ports. So I looked at, you know, tens of thousands of shipping containers every day, and I didn't actually get the idea till I moved here, and the portability and the fact that you didn't need the units here year round. And so my idea was, since they're portable, you know, you have them here for the winter, and then you repurpose them to the Grand Canyon or, you know, one of the state parks in the summer. There's enough need here because we have the year-round visitors that they can be used, you know, even in the off season. So, you know, the mobility issue isn't as big a deal as my original business plan.
Here you built the prototypes. We saw those. We showed some photos of them just recently right here. And people love them. It's a great idea, but would have been some obstacles from when you were able to show those prototypes. People want them. They need them. What has happened in the meantime?
Yeah, well, there's been huge adoption because the problem has just gotten worse. Now, for example, the city of LA, a few years ago started paying people $75,000 to install an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, in their backyard that a homeless or a low-income person could live in, and then after a couple of years they would turn that unit back to the homeowner and let them rent it out and things. But so now it's pretty, from a zoning standpoint, most cities are open to it. Anybody that's had the negative impact. The county here, Summit County, is very cooperative and will give us conditional use permits for them. The city, because we're not hooked up to the sewer system, we can be, but they're not really adopting it. But most cities are.
It's an excellent solution, as we mentioned, and especially now with the housing market the way it is. But not only is it being used for affordable housing, seasonal housing, it's also a great option for pop-up shops, for disaster relief. You're really starting to see the potential here.
Right, so you take a strip mall with, maybe a little excess parking lot, you'd set up a drive-through coffee shop, you could have a dry cleaners and a shoe repair, a small restaurant. It's pretty unlimited what you could do. And a small business owner, to go in and lease in a strip mall is very expensive. They're going to have to, sign a 3 to 5 year lease. They're going to have to pay for all the improvements and things. It's a huge burden for a small business owner to lease space. And ours, we could do short-term leases with it, design it so that, didn't matter too much, what type of tenant was in it. And so it's pretty flexible that way. And
how can we get more information about this project? If someone's watching, they want to know all about, the history, where it is now, where it's going,
right.
What can they do?
Yeah, we have, a ton of pictures of our, our different products, our facility and things, and that can be found at MIT Modular.com. And if you forget that, you can just Google my name, Blake Christian, and either CPA or Modular, and plenty will come up.
And we're just about out of time, but where do you hope to see this in the next year, the next 5 years?
I tell my wife, I say, I'm looking forward to driving across country and saying, oh, there's one of our units, there's one of our units. And I do, our projections are that in 5 years we'll be producing, a couple, 2 a day, we'll have multiple facilities, and the demand is unlimited out there. It really is.
It really is, and it's been incredible to watch this project from the very beginning to grow where it is today, not only for affordable housing, but for disaster relief, for other options. So I'm so excited to have you come back to continue talking about this, and I appreciate your time being here today.
Well, thank you for following it, and great to be here today.
Absolutely. All right, and that's it for our show on this Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate Blake Christian being here to tell us all about MIT Modular and all the opportunities there. Look forward to more conversations on that. We also appreciate the many other people that have joined us today. Thank you so much to the detective from Heber City Police Department talking all about that Kids Academy coming up next Tuesday. It's also fun to talk with Valerie Greenberg. Also Bill Kelly about his film Where the Crawdads Sing coming out on July 15th. We'll be back Monday morning at 7 a.m. Have a great weekend.